Welcome to Hockey Nights in Vegas, episode 34. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe Payne of the Las Vegas Advisor. It's been a while since we've been with you. There's quite a bit going on here in fabulous Las Vegas when it comes to the Golden Knights. But before we look to the current and we look to the forward, we have to talk a little bit about how Jack Eichel got in the lineup. And Joe, you and I think, disagree pretty steadfastly. It's a pretty real disagreement, not something that we have very often when it comes to the circumvention of the salary cap and Mark Stone's injury and things like that. You said to me when we were talking, how come he played in the All-Star game? That was kind of your, one of the big points. So, I mean, do you think something nefarious is going on or went on with the Golden Knights? Or do you think this was just the opportunity and they took advantage of it?
No, I actually think I thought, like, if he was really injured, why is he playing the All-Star game? But then when I asked you that question the other night at T-Mobile, you made a valid point saying, well, it was his first All-Star game. It was in his home arena. It was an opportunity he might not get this opportunity again, which I disagree with. I think he'll be an all-star in the future also. But as you put it, I think you said the all-star game is less than a morning skate as far as,
Yeah, there's no checking. There's not even a slap shot. I mean,
but I will say this, and I didn't say this to you the other night. Do you remember how he got injured? I believe it was in the LA game with just taking the shot is when he tweaked his back. And anybody who's listening, you included, who's had back injuries, know you don't have to get bumped. You can do something as little as sneezing to throw your back out.
I agree.
Okay. So to err on the side of caution, I thought if he was that close to being not able to play, maybe Ovechkin makes a habit of passing on the All-Star games. Him and Crosby have been suspended a couple of times because they just don't go because they just want the time off.
Right.
And they're not injured. So somebody who has a lingering issue, issue to say, so to speak, you would think he would say, you know what, maybe it's best team-wise that I just don't play the All-Star game and I just take the 2-3 days and just relax on my sofa, or a recliner or whatever it is, or just get additional therapy. That's my point. I don't think they're playing games. I think maybe management should have said to him, Mark, do you think maybe you should pass on the All-Star game? We don't know what was said behind the scenes, so to speak. So I'm not sure where to go with this as far as, are they playing games? I don't think they're playing games. Have they found a way to get Eichel back into the lineup? Not back into the lineup, but into the lineup, so he can kind of mesh into the team as opposed to just putting him in come playoff time? That's a possibility.
Well, to the surprise of not you or anyone else, I have some pretty strong opinions on this. So I'll go with the easy ones first. Mark Stone, the captain of the Vegas Golden Knights, is not going on LTIR if he's able to play. Absolutely not. That's the first thing. The second thing is, like you said, and we've known each other a long time, you know that I have pretty bad back issues. And, he was in and out of the lineup on 4 different occasions. The first time we saw it, like you said, it was a non-contact injury, which means that he tweaked something. The problem is the back, unlike an ankle or a foot or a shoulder or a wrist or a finger, it's a mystery. You never really know what exactly you're treating. The Golden Knights said he's seen 6 different orthopedic doctors and 12 different modalities of treatment. I got news for you. It might be a mystery that isn't solved. And, there's no questioning that he's a gamer. None. So, you know what? I think that it just got to the point where they did so many different things. They tried so many different things, and none of them gave him long-term relief. He's missed a few games. He comes back. He plays a couple shifts, and then he's out. And I think that they finally just said, listen, we're shutting it down. We're going to try and figure this out. We're going to go with rest as the first course. And I really think that that's the extent of it. All these conspiracy theorists and these Kucherov theorists and all of this other happy horse pucky that's going on. Listen, the Golden Knights, I'll tell you this. I think that they had this chip in their pocket since he first hurt his back. I think that Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee said that this could be a possibility, down the line somewhere, but I don't think they were banking on it in any way, shape, or form. I think that this was a gift horse that I think they had to do it this way. And I understand the optics of it might not be great, but we here in Vegas and we who get a chance to talk to Mark Stone and talk to the players and stuff like that after the game, there's nothing whatsoever nefarious. It just, this is the way it fell out. And I mean, I'm okay with it. It is what it is.
It is. When you say Mark's a gamer, he also wants to win. And if he is presented a plan that says, hey, Mark, if we put you on LTIR, I don't think, and we can add Jack Eichel into the lineup, we're not really, the team is not dropping down quality wise, talent wise, and we can get you some rest. And we can also get Eichel meshed into the lineup at the same time. You don't think he buys into that?
Well, I think that I don't see there being a circumstance where if Mark Stone can play, doesn't play. I think that his health obviously is first. I mean, that's a very obvious statement. But if he's not healthy, he's almost more of a detriment. If he goes in and he misses, he plays 7 or 8 minutes of the first period and then he's gone, they're down to 11-6. So I think that it was the best of a bad situation. You can't tell me that there's any upside to not having Mark Stone in the lineup unless he's not healthy.
But Eddie, any NHL player 60% into the season is probably not 100%.
Right, but he's not 60% of the season. He's how many games has he played this year? 30?
But what I'm trying to say, is that when you say if he was good to go, he would go. I don't think any player is one. Like, there's no player. I mean, especially the Knights this year. I think they have not fielded a complete lineup all season. They've had injuries from day one going, right, and it continues. So the point is, if you present Stone, who's a team guy and wants to win at all costs, and I'm not saying the Knights intentionally did this, but this is a circumstance that happened to appear, and they said, listen, Mark, we could sit you out, and if we sit you out, we can slot in Eichel, who's ready to come back into the lineup. I think logistically, the announcement of Eichel playing and Stone going on LTIR on the same day has led to this conspiracy theory.
Sure, I agree 100%.
Yeah, they should probably have never announced both on the same day. If they knew that Stone was going out on LTIR, they should have announced that first, and then announced a day or two later that Eichel is going to return. So I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot by doing the announcement on the same day. Stone's going out, Eichel's coming in, and people go, "What the heck is going on here? Are they doing a Tampa Bay here?" Now, Tampa Bay did something different. Kucherov didn't play the whole entire season and just reappeared for the playoffs. Maybe the Golden Knights are saying, "Hey, listen, we played Stone. He's obviously hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup all season. We decided that maybe the best course of action here is to, like you say, shut it down. And then while we shut it down, the timing happens to be that Eichel's ready to come back in the lineup. I mean, that's what are they supposed to do? Not play Eichel because the timing looks bad?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
does this pass the sniff test to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, the other 31 teams don't think it's passed the sniff test, but listen, it's in the CBA. This agreement that that if a player is out and on LTIR, his salary doesn't count. Once you get into the playoffs, there's no salary cap.
Right.
And ironically, when this was proposed a couple of years ago, Tampa Bay was one of the, I think, 2 or 3 teams that voted again. Yeah,
they were the only one
to vote against it. Yet
Correct.
they've used it
right.
to the best of their ability.
Right.
But
I mean,
now everybody's
there's a bit of a difference. I think Kucherov had played a whole bunch of games and years with Tampa before he had the hip surgery.
right.
And people say, well, what about the chemistry between Pacioretty and Stone and Eichel? I'm like, stop it. They're not going to need a whole bunch of games to figure this out. Everything is going to be okay. I agree with you that optically, it
Right.
maybe wasn't the greatest series of announcements, the way that they did it.
The timeline was suspect.
Yeah, but here's what
But
we
ma-
know. Eichel said 3 months, right? Pretty much a man of his word. And I mean, it's like, let me try this question on you. If Eichel was ready when he was ready, and Stone wasn't a candidate to go on LTIR, do you think that the Golden Knights were prepared to make the personnel moves to get them in the lineup together?
I think that McCrimmon and McPhee are prepared to do anything possible to put the best team on the ice. And DeBoer has already stated that he's going to play the plays that give him the best chance to win. But McCrimmon and McPhee are the cooks, and DeBoer is just the server of the food, so to speak. So would they have moved it? Yeah, and I still think there's a possibility that somebody does get moved. If for optic wise, if the Golden Knights don't want to do a Tampa Bay and hold Stone out until the end of the season, they probably do make a move at the trade deadline, which they have almost a month to make this move.
A month from today, the 21st.
Yeah. And what I think they've done also by doing this is they've increased, if they are going to make a trade, they've increased their trade value because the other teams now realize that the Vegas Golden Knights are not under the thumb, so to speak, where they have to move a player to get Eichel into lineup. We've already seen that. They've got Eichel into lineup and they still have Stone on LTIR. So, they've increased their, in the poker game, they've increased their value of their hand because now they have that option to do it. I want to call it the Tampa Bay move. So they have the option to do the Tampa Bay move where if they didn't do it, the other teams would say, well, we can get a Riley Smith or a Shea Theodore or a Jonathan Marchessault at a really good price because Vegas is in a position here where they have to move bodies. Now they don't have to move bodies. So was this move done to help them increase their trade value at the trade deadline and not have to give away bodies for next to nothing, not have to ship a Fleury like contract to Chicago for basically nothing. I mean, they got a player back and then they gave the player right back to Chicago. So,
right.
So what I think here is happening is that I think you're going to see a move at the trade deadline, and then you're going to see Stone come back beforehand. But what they've done, in my opinion, is they've increased the value of their hand come March 24th.
Yeah, and they have a lot more outs now.
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
they were looking
weren't
at a
drawn
one.
Dead.
They weren't drawn dead, but they were on a 1 or a 2 outer.
Exactly.
And now with the turn, there's a whole other list of possibilities
and what also you've seen is that there's going to be some activity, and you and I are kind of privy to seeing the list in the press box. There has been numerous scouts from teams from the East and the West sitting in the press box with us. So there is, there's talk about bringing one of the Ranger goaltenders over, and the way Logan Thompson played, maybe you can move Brassard at this point. and Logan Thompson makes 800,000. And I know you don't like, the Thompson as a backup.
I love Thompson for next year and for down the line to be the franchise guy. But 2 games is just, and we're gonna listen. I think we're probably gonna see him against Arizona
Yes.
On
Or
Thursday.
one of the 2 games.
Well,
He's
we're
not
gonna
play against Colorado.
No, he's not gonna play against Colorado. He's gonna play against Arizona. Brassois will play against Colorado. But as we both know, because we get the press briefs and stuff like that.
Wait, run this. So you think Brassois plays against Colorado?
Yeah.
And Logan plays against Arizona?
Except that Robin Leonard is skating. So
what does that mean, though?
Who knows? But he's skating. Martinez is getting close. White Cloud is, I mean, if you made the chef analogy and stuff like that, there's an awful lot of ingredients right now getting ready to stir, if
you put into the pot, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, if you get Martinez and White Cloud back, I mean, listen, I like Dylan Coughlin's game. I don't think that I think he got thrust into this and he's doing an admirable job, but he's not supplanting Martinez, and he's certainly not supplanting Zach Whitecloud. So when Zach Whitecloud comes back, Coughlin becomes the 7D. Ben Hutton might be the guy that goes on the waiver wire to get them that last little 750, 800,000 that they need to wiggle around. He might be the guy that they try to push through. But like you said, they haven't iced the complete team.
They haven't.
I think these last 2 games, I read somewhere, it's the 3rd time this season that the Golden Knights have played the same lineup in 2 games in a row, not counting the goalie, of course.
Right.
So, I think that, and we'll skip our second block, is we're going to talk about Jack Eichel's first 3 games. But let's go to the future. Everybody's panicking again. This team has no cohesion. This team has no chemistry. They have this and they don't have that. They don't hit. They don't do any of these things. I'm not anywhere near panic mode. Are you concerned at all about the Golden Knights?
I am concerned. Yes. They don't score. They don't hit. They don't move the puck out of their zone. They don't get the puck into the zone cleanly. Yes, they have a lot of problems all happening at the same time. Like, give you an example just to reference last night's game. They were on the power play and there were 4 chances that were going back the other way for San Jose on the power play. The last chance kind of dribbled off the guy's stick, but you just can't be giving up quality chances going the other way when you're on the power play. I mean, Eichel has helped the movement of the puck on the power play is much better. Is it something that they got it? No, they don't have it yet, because their entry, like you even said the other night, was that an entry into the zone, a clean entry into the zone the other night? They don't get the puck into the zone. But with Eichel, when the puck does get into the zone, what I've noticed is that prior to Eichel, the puck was always out on the perimeter. And you're trying to score in the NHL from the perimeter, even with a man advantage, is a difficult task. But what Eichel's ability is he gets the puck down to the bumper guy. He gets the puck cross ice. His passes are just so clean and crisp, and they're tape to tape. And some of them are just almost blind passes. I know they're not blind passes because they're just too accurate to be blind. But he seems to have his heads on the swivel, and he seems to know exactly where everyone is. I mean, his goal last night, he should have gotten the goal, and he should have got an assist on it, because he set that whole play up with Stevenson. So
are you concerned they're not going to make the playoffs?
No, I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Calgary, Edmonton.
I don't think they're going to finish in first place. I mean, Calgary's what 10 games in a row now. Edmonton had won 5. They finally lost last night.
You want to know the interesting stat about Calgary? When the Golden Knights lost to Calgary last week,
6-0.
6-0. 15 of the Calgary Flames had not missed a game the entire year. And the others, I think, had missed one. They have a total of less than 50 man games. They have not been smacked by the injury bug at all.
But that doesn't mean that they're going to get hit with the injury bug.
No. Of course it doesn't. But just the fact, I mean, that the Golden Knights are at what, 190 or 200 man games?
They probably lead the league in lost man games.
Actually, they're about fourth.
Really?
But that's neither here nor there. It's just, so you're worried about them. Do you worry that there's just no chemistry, that they're not playing connected hockey? Or is it just that they have a lot of things that are ailing them right now, and maybe you don't see a way out of it?
There's a lot of small things that ail them. They're a solid team. Okay, they're a playoff team. In the beginning of the year, I thought they were one of 3 favorites to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know if I feel that way right now. I think they may be one of 6 teams that could possibly win the cup. I think teams now I think Colorado is a force to be reckoned with. Tampa Bay is a force
Tampa,
Florida, Carolina. Even Washington on the fringe, if they can get their stuff together. So they're going to make the playoffs, yes. Are they going to finish in first? I don't know. I mean, Calgary just is on fire right now and playing well. And Edmonton seems to have gotten the wheels back on their bus. I mean, they got blown out last night by Minnesota. They give up 7 goals. Edmonton needs a goaltender.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
They need a goaltender.
If Edmonton gets a goaltender trade deadline, and I'm not sure if they get either the Ranger goaltender, Fleury, a guy in Chicago named Fleury, they will be a force to be reckoned with. And I think the Knights, I initially thought in the beginning, halfway through the season, that the Knights would have to get by Colorado to have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Now I think they got to get by Calgary first. That's how well Calgary's playing. And the Knights have a tough time up at the Saddle Dome also.
I think it's a little early for that. There's still 30 games left in the season. Clearly Colorado is the front runner in the West. Calgary, Minnesota, to a certain extent, St. Louis. I mean, there's a lot, but you know what? 30 games is an eternity.
Yeah, but Eddie, it's 30 games, but in the month of March, I think they're playing 16 games in 31 days or something crazy like that.
But everybody's got that same problem, and other teams have it worse because they were hurt worse.
But everybody's got that problem. But Vegas is playing with a shortened bench, a shortened lineup. The other teams that are playing a condensed schedule also, they're a lot healthier than the Vegas Golden Knights. Dvorak can only, when he wants to make changes. I think he made a change in net last night to kind of try to wake up the team. The only change he really can make is in that because he doesn't have a lot of forwards and defensemen to juggle. I mean, he's basically using the 6 defensemen that he has available to him, and he's using the 12 forwards that he has available to him, because beyond that, who does he have? He took out Kolesar out of a game because he said, and it was to kind of wake up Kolesar. Kolesar was playing soft, wasn't sticking his nose in. Well, Kolesar scored a goal that he should have never scored last night.
Right.
And 99.9% of any NHL goaltender starts that shot. But Kolesar was getting his nose dirty last night towards the end. Actually, literally at the end of the game when there was that scrum in front of LT.
Right.
Kolesar and Carrier, who haven't really been
imposed their will.
They haven't imposed their will. Finally stepped up last night. But what really bothered me last night when we talk about physicality is that nobody answered to Cogliano running Pacioretty into the boards from. It was, on the borderline of being a real dirty hit. Yep. Pacioretty basically was facing the boards when he got hit by by Caggiano. And I don't understand why. No, I mean, McNabb went at him, but
A
then that
little.
was it. Now, okay, fine. I know that the points are important, but when the game is 3-0 in the third period, I think it's safe to say you can have step up to Cogliano and make him answer to the hit on Pacioretty. That's not done this year, and
Well,
there was no answer when
Kinnan,
McKinnon got
Latin,
Nolan
Nolan
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I understand that hockey's becoming tennis over the last couple of years. Nobody can
Tennis.
hit it.
Tennis?
Yeah, being basically you're not allowed to hit anybody. And if you do, you got to fight.
Yeah.
Except if you hit a Vegas Golden Knight, then it's okay. Nobody fights on the Vegas Golden Knights anymore. I don't know. I think they've lost their physicality.
Well, they've certainly gone from physical to finesse. There's no doubt about that, because they saw that finesse has won the last 2 Stanley Cups.
I don't know about that. Tampa Bay has a line that's a grind and muck line also. So,
But they also have 4 lines that can score, where the Golden Knights didn't. And this year, if things sort of settle in, I mean, Brett Howden's been a great surprise.
he has.
A great waiver wire pickup. And Nolan Patrick, unfortunately, just when he started to show a little bit of zip in his game, took that, what we both agree was a really dirty hit from McKinnon.
And when not only the league did nothing about it. I don't even think it was reviewed.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising to me. Are you worried about the coaching of the team? I mean, you can't. I mean, Pete doesn't play the games. Players play the games. Pete teaches systems, and there's this debate going on about systems coaches versus players coaches. Pete DeBoer, the way his coaching style is, versus Turk's coaching style. Are you worried that the Golden Knights have just completely abandoned their identity, and maybe they're just not as good a team as we think they are?
I think they're a good team. Is DeBoer getting all he can out of everyone? I don't know. That's a good question. I think DeBoer's a good coach. So, I'm not gonna sit here and knock DeBoer. I think he's done well. He's taken teams to the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm not sure how to answer that question. There's people on social media calling for his head right now. They want to bring in Tortorella. They want to bring in
a real friendly chap. That Tortorella, I'll have you know, a real players coach. Torts is.
Actually, he would be good for us though, because he would make the post game press conferences interesting.
Yes, it would be very entertaining to ask him questions.
You're not gonna. DeBoer is never going to get out of line with you. I only saw one time DeBoer get really pissed off, but Tortorella, I only maybe saw one time he didn't get pissed off. So he and they're talking about also Tocchet. Tocchet's name is being tossed around as possible. I don't know if we're at that stage where DeBoer's job is in trouble. I don't think it is.
I think that it's ridiculous. It's just, listen, the guy's coached with one arm tied behind his back and one foot not having a skate on it.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he shows up to the rink and it's like a surprise bag.
Yeah, he reaches into the hat to see who.
Okay, so
what do I got now?
And we're not going to rag on the fan base, but DeBoer, given what he's given, right? The lineups that he's given, the adversity that the team has faced, and every team has adversity. This is not excuse making, okay? This is just a fact. He's doing as good a job with the ingredients that he has to make stew every night as anybody could possibly do. A player's coach isn't going to get people off of LTIR or get them healthier or do anything of the sort, right? This is the point where the systems, the built-in way that the Golden Knights play, is the advantage I think that they have, simply because people get plugged in. Players if it's a new defensive pair, because of the system they play, you know where your D partner is. If the puck goes cross ice in, you absolutely have to look cross corner to make sure that he's there. But their system is set up so that you should know where the players are going to be. And if they didn't have that much structure and they didn't teach structure repetitively all through the year at practice, the Golden Knights would probably be, I think, a lot worse off than second in their division and a couple points in a game not in hand against Calgary.
When you talk about DeBoer and his systems and all that, I'm a guy who really appreciates loyalty. I was brought up with loyalty being very, very important. But I think DeBoer's loyalty to Steve Spott has hurt the team because he doesn't seem to be making any adjustments to make the power play better. And that's Steve Spott's job. But I think the loyalty between DeBoer and Spott has kind of tied DeBoer's hands a little bit because he doesn't want to be unloyal to his friend. There needs to be some sort of, and I'm not a power play coach. I wouldn't even know where to start, even though I'm a hockey guy. But there has to be some sort of adjustment to their entry into the zone on the power play. It's just been horrible all season. And Jack Eichel is not going to solve that problem by just putting his skates on. Do you agree with that? The power play needs to be adjusted somehow?
Well, I know that Steve Spott's probably not going to say hi to you when he comes down for breakfast the next time you're on a road trip. I can tell you that. I can tell you that for sure. You've definitely made his shit list. But I'll tell you what, and we'll use this sort of as the transition into the third block today. Let's talk about Jack Eichel's first 3 games as a Vegas Golden Knight. I watched both home games. You unfortunately missed one. We both watched the third game on the television set. I am going to disagree with you about the power play prior to Jack Eichel's arrival. I am going to say to you that what we've seen in 3 games from a player who hasn't played professional hockey in 11 and a half months and didn't play much the year that he was hurt. I told you when you came to the second home game that I see it. I see his vision on the ice. I can tell how he thinks the game. The fact that he makes these passes, these blistering whip around passes that we haven't seen before. And on the power play, the first power play that Jack Eichel was on, 2 passes went into the bumper in 15 seconds. And I think that was more than we had seen the whole year. So with Jack Eichel on the left-hand half wall, Pacioretty on the right-hand half wall, and they were moving. While they're still trying to figure out who's going to be the bumper guy. But I saw a lot of progress. But the thing that I think I noticed the most is players are more reluctant to attack Jack Eichel when he has the puck, especially on the power play. He's the guy who lets that player come just a little bit closer, and then passes it through him, whether it's into the bumper or it's a cross seam pass or something like that. His hands and his vision and his hockey sense, especially in the offensive zone, I've seen enough. I've seen in 3 games enough to be that they're on to something here. He is everything that he's everything as advertised, in my opinion.
Okay, and that's a valid point, Eddie. But are you telling me that the only problem with the power play prior to Jack Eichel coming was not having Jack Eichel?
No, absolutely not. But I'm telling you that if he's the guy who picks up that stupid drop pass that we both hate so much, and he comes blazing up the ice, he has the ability to push the defense back like no other Golden Knight that's ever been a Golden Knight, including Chandler Stevenson and including Shea Theodore, pretty much the fastest 2 Golden Knights. The difference is as fast as Jack Eichel is, and he is one of the better skaters in the NHL, his playmaking ability forces defenses into more reactions. So if they stick with that pass that we both hate, and we think that they probably will, and Eichel becomes the guy who picks up, he becomes the trailer on the power play, I think that that's going to significantly improve their ability to set up in the offensive zone on a power play.
Well, here's where I'm gonna somewhat disagree with you here. This drop pass stuff that one team started 4 or 5 years ago, and now every team's adopted it. Okay, if teams know that's going to happen, they can defend against it. Okay, they're not going to. They're just going to sit back and wait on you. But the point is, if you mix it up a little bit, maybe you drop it once on one rush, and on the second rush, you headman the puck into the zone. You give them a little bit of a different look, as opposed to giving them the same look repeatedly over and over again. It's easy to defend something that you know is coming, as opposed to, are they going to drop it back, or are they going to skate it up this time? And so, your opinion that Eichel is the solve all here.
He's not the solve all, but he's a game changer for the Vegas Golden Knights power play.
He is absolutely, without a doubt. But the point
without a doubt,
we still have to get the puck into the zone. And
agreed.
Skating it up 80 feet and then throwing it back 60 is counterproductive, in my opinion.
But if it's not successful, why is every team in the league do it?
Because if a coach is not successful in one team and he gets fired, why does another team hire him? It's the same thing in the NHL. They recycle everything.
Sure.
They recycle coaches, and it's a copycat league. When's the last time you saw a new coach come in and that gets hired and we go, where'd this guy come from?
The guy that the Rangers hired from BU or BC.
Oh yeah. How long did he last?
Three seasons, I think.
Yeah, because there was nobody else around. Nobody else got fired. You don't think Tockett's going to land someplace? You don't think Tortorella's going to land someplace?
I think the only one that's not going to land any place is Joel Quenneville.
I'll give you another one that's not going to land any place. Well, Joel Quenneville buried himself. Mike Babcock. It's going to be a cold day before Babcock gets behind the NHL bench. Between him and Quenneville, they pretty much.
I think for Tocchet and Torts, I think it's up to them. I mean, Torts has a pretty cushy gig with ESPN. Tocchet has a pretty cushy gig with TBS.
Yeah, but Eddie, these guys like to win.
I know. I get it.
Can't win sitting in the TBS studio,
but they can recharge their battery. They can recharge their batteries for next season. There's no more coaches firings this year, right?
Probably not. No.
Right. So it's going to run its course this year, and then we'll see. Listen, I like watching Torts be a coach. But then again, I like punishment sometimes. So what can I tell you? But
so you liked 50 Shades of Grey then, obviously, that movie.
I didn't see it. Thanks.
Come on, stop.
No, not that. Nah.
You didn't see 50 Shades of Grey?
No.
Really?
Nope, none of them.
Well, if you like punishment, you should watch that.
No. Thank you for the film recommendation.
we can be Siskel and Ebert here.
I mean, but to bring it back to where we're going, I see it in Eichel. I had never seen him play in person. And now I've seen him play 3 times, 2 times without Shane and Dave in my ear, and where I could watch the game the way I like to watch the game.
Right.
And I see it. He was clearly in the first game. He was on a huge adrenaline rush, and his stamina just tanked in the second and third period. He was a little bit better in the second game, but last night you saw him start to command the ice and command the pieces of the puzzle moving around the board. And, listen, you know me, optimism is not a word that, I hang around my neck too often, but I'm telling you, I've seen some generational players in my life, and I see why the Golden Knights did what they did to acquire Jack Eichel. And I
Okay.
also think, hold on, I think that Jack Eichel is what they hoped Cody Glass and Peyton Krebs would be. They just chose not to wait to see if they would develop.
Okay, so I want to get back to Eichel when you talk about he's one of those top players.
He's a generational player, in my opinion.
Okay, so in the draft year, he went number 2. McDavid went number 1 in his draft year. Okay,
right.
Are they two different players? Is McDavid more of an individual player, and is Eichel more of a team oriented player?
We don't know the answer to that because McDavid, when he first came in the league, played on a terrible Edmonton team.
And Eichel played on a terrible Buffalo team.
And exactly. And Eichel played on a terrible Buffalo team. Here's what we know about Eichel's situation on the Golden Knights. He will not need to play 23, 24, 25 minutes. He will not be the sole source of offense on the team. And he won't have the pressure of the sea and the pressure of the city on him.
Does that make him a better player than McDavid team-wise?
I mean, I don't know that we know that. I mean, neither of them are known prominently for their defensive prowess. Right?
True.
But I think that the Golden Knights situation is more conducive to Eichel being a huge success than we've seen McDavid be, simply because of the way Edmonton has managed their cap and their contracts and everything else like that. As far as a pure individual player, I think McDavid is the best in the world. I don't think that there's any question about that.
Would McDavid be a better player if he was on a different team? If McDavid played for Toronto or the Vegas Golden Knights or for Tampa Bay or for Florida Panthers, would he be a better player?
Yeah, for sure. For sure he would, because he would play with better players. He would have more tools in the toolbox, and that's the difference. Even now, you have McDavid and Draisaitl and Kane, whatever it is. Right?
Step, right.
And that's about it. The Golden Knights are giving Eichel the opportunity to come here and be the number 2 pick and be the generational player that that they expect him to be. And he has a better opportunity to be more successful. Now, will he ever outscore McDavid? No, probably not.
Because he's not going to get the amount of minutes either.
Exactly.
Right. He actually, in my opinion, Eichel is going to be a better player team-wise for the Vegas Golden Knights than McDavid is for the Edmonton Oilers.
Eichel will have overall better advanced statistics.
Right.
All the game stuff that has to do with the team, shots for, high danger stuff. He'll have all of that way more, I think, than Connor McDavid will.
Right.
Just because he's on a significantly better team and he's not asked to carry the franchise.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't have a letter. He may not get a letter next year. He may not get a letter ever. But if he scores 40 goals and he has 40 or 50 assists and his plus number is in the high teens or 20s or something like that, and they're a legitimate threat to win the Stanley Cup for the next 3 or 4 years, I mean, that's what you want the guy to do. He is a number 1 center. We've debated in the past, what are we going to do with Chandler Stevenson and things like that. I'm a little concerned for Chandler Stevenson because he had 3 very non-engaged games. It seems like he took a stupid penalty at the end of the second period.
End of first period.
At the end of the first period that directly led to the game
power
tying.
Play go. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm a little concerned that I don't want to say the guy's butthurt, but I think that Jack Eichel, there's no doubt in my mind. Jack Eichel is going to be the number 1 center. They may juggle the lines. putting the misfits back together saved their bacon, for a while in the second game. But Eichel is a legitimate number 1C. And
but I still think Chandler Stevenson looked good last night with playing with Eichel.
yeah, I thought he had the best of the three games since Eichel has been there. Right? Dadonov on that first line, I would say, was not a good experiment. I like Stevenson on right wing 1, just because it gives Waugh the chance to be 3C, and I kind of like the fit of that. But I think that when Stone comes back, Stevenson almost has to move to 3C. I mean, I think if we've learned nothing else, the misfits shouldn't be broken up. They just got to play together. Until one of them isn't here, they have to play together.
Which is possible on March 24th.
First, yeah, it's very possible, but I guess to bring it all back, I'm not nearly as worried. Right? They have defensive lapses. They have times where they don't show chemistry, but they're not playing with the same group of guys every night. If they were having these lapses that you talked about when we started the segment talking about, are you concerned, with the same lineup that was had played 10 games together, or 12 games, or 15 games together, then I would be super concerned. That means that the message isn't getting from the coach to the players. But the pundits on the NHL Network said, we don't know what we have yet with Vegas. And I think that's where you have to.
We may not know until the playoffs.
And you know what? If that's what it is, then that's what it is. We can't force it to happen. We would love to know exactly what we have. Okay. But that's not how this game is, right? That point, we might not know until game 1 of the playoffs. And guess what? If Mark Stone's back is worse than expected, we might not even know. This whole year might be, well, we never really knew what we got, what we have. We think we have all the parts, but we may not see the whole. We may not see the whole. The finished pie or cake or stew, whatever it is, the finished main course.
The stew.
Yeah, the stew. Yeah, and listen, it doesn't mean we have to worry. They're still way above 500. Their points percentage is okay, right? I think they're going to need some better goaltending.
Oh, for sure.
So
do you think they make a move for goaltender at the deadline?
I think that.
Do they move Brissett at the deadline? Knowing that they can bring somebody in, knowing that they have Logan Thompson, as you say, for the future.
I like the kid in New York, Georgiev. Right? He kind of got bumped out by Shesterkin. Do they make a move? I'm gonna ask for a hold on that until we get some more information on Robin Leonard. When we get a little bit clearer picture of where the Panda is with things, then I feel better. If the Panda looks like he's going to be not healthy the rest of the way, I think that they might make a move. They might have to put him on LTIR.
If Panda's not ready to go, they have to make a move. They can't go into the playoffs with Brissett and Thompson as their tandem.
I agree.
They're not getting out of the Pacific Division if that's the case.
I agree. It's going to be must see TV. That's what, if you're a Golden Knights fan, 16 games in March, 13 games in April.
It's condensed, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is their last little break, and they pretty much go either back to back or every other day.
Every other day or back to back.
They have 18 games on the road left, and that's okay because they're a pretty good road team.
They play pretty good on the road.
It's not good for us. We don't get to watch as much hockey in person, but I would say my closing thought is we're okay still. You know,
Okay. I am a little concerned. I'm concerned because of the injuries. I'm concerned because of the cohesiveness. I'm concerned about the the power play, the entry of the power play, and I'm concerned about the defensive lapses when they're on the power play. I mean, they're giving up too many quality chances going back the other way while they got an extra man on the ice. I mean,
that's yeah,
that's a
it's
problem.
very concerning. I agree
That-
with you.
that's a
So
problem.
we've yapped for long enough. We're going to wrap up episode 34. Um, click like, click subscribe, send us a message. Tell us what your thoughts are about your Vegas Golden Knights in the comments section. We'll answer the comments for you. We have a surprise. I'm not sure if it's going to be episode 35 or episode 36, but I will just give you this famous phrase. And that phrase is, we are Vegas strong. So we are, Joe and I together, with the help of one of our friends, have secured an incredible special guest for one of the next 2 episodes. And we're going to have a very candid conversation with this person. And I think that you people are really going to enjoy it. So come back, take a look the next couple of episodes and take a look at who's in the third box with Joe and I. And we're making our way. We've got some moves coming up to share with you. We've got some sponsors. We've got some plans to do stuff. So stick around, enjoy the show, and please like us and subscribe. And don't be afraid to send a comment, good or bad. Joe and I are happy to mix it up with anybody who wants to have a chat. That's it. Joe, you have a closing thought?
Go Knights, go.
That's it. We'll end with that. Go Knights, go. We'll see you in a few days, everybody. Take care.